We mentioned that their brothers fought back in August of 2020, and now we get to see Nikita Tszyu and Ben Horn do battle. It's a fantastic fight, and the manager of Nikita Tszyu is Glenn Jennings, who's down at the far end of the table. We'll start over there. Glenn, must have been a frustrating period for you guys, just trying to find someone who would stick around to fight against Nikita. A couple said they would and didn't go through with it.
Yeah, look, it's an ongoing issue with Nikita. His reputation's already out in front of him after 2 rounds, believe it or not, as a pro. Plenty of them have called him out, and so when the phone call comes, those same people tend to disappear, and it's quite frustrating. I mean, I always thought that the call-out fighters were the tough guys that actually wanted to fight. It seems to me nowadays that the call-out fighters are the opposite. They like to call out, they like to make noise, and when the phone call comes in, let's do it, it's crickets. There's nothing, zero. Kudos to the boys at the other end, Glenn Rushton and Benny Horn, for jumping on and taking this. But yeah, we expect, like everything with Nikita, it doesn't matter who's opposite him, we don't look past that, and it's going to be an exciting night, as it always is. And as we say, when Nikita gets in the ring, don't go for a beer, don't blink.
It's Nikita's fault, isn't it, that he can't get opponents? He should just take a bit longer with some of these fights.
Not sure if he understands the instructions out of the corner or not, mate, because yeah, we've had 2 rounds, and I mean, that is a problem. That creates this narrative straight up that whoever gets in the ring with Nikita is going to get knocked out, and that's okay. Early days, it's a bit of fun, but the reality is everyone that gets in the ring comes with bad intentions and wants to knock Nikita out. So we don't doubt that Ben Horn's coming to upset our party, and we expect it to be a cracker of a fight. And I know the bloke sitting next to him down there, Glenn Rushton, won't be coming with any intentions other than going home with a win. So yeah, we're excited, man. It's great to have Nikita back in the ring, and we've got a real good roadmap for the rest of the year, Benny. Nikita's probably going to fight 3 more fights after this to close out 2022 for a super busy year with no limits. And those boys that have gone awful quiet on the phone expect some more calls. You can't call people out on national TV and then turn into a shrinking violet. If you make the call and we say, yeah, we'll do it, let's get it done. Let's fight.
We've already seen one Horn v Tszyu fight. As we mentioned, we've got the mandatory world title challenger in Tim Tszyu here in the crowd today. What are your memories of August 2020? A very, very big night for Tim.
It was a huge night. It was like a 7-week camp. It's back to the COVID days when we ran across the border to keep the fight alive, and spent 7 weeks waiting for it to come around, and literally fought in front of most of our people back in New South Wales. But it was a great fight. It was a great atmosphere. It was a great crowd. Huge response from the Queensland fans, and we look forward to this one too, Benny. This could be, depending on the results of Origin 2, this could be the Origin 3 trade-off to see who wins, Queensland or New South. I'll put my money on the Blues.
All right, thanks so much, Glenn Jennings. We'll head to the other ends of the table, and a different Glenn. It's Glenn Rushton, the world title winning trainer of Jeff Horn, and also his brother Ben Horn. Glenn, great to see you again here in Sydney. Fantastic to have you involved in this fight. The phone call came, you guys accepted very, very quickly. What was that process like when you rang Ben and told him what had been said, and how quickly was the decision made?
Yeah, you know, this is we realise the challenge in front of us here. You know, Nikita Tszyu and Tim, they're great boxers, so we know what we're up against. But, you know, with great risk comes great opportunity. You know, one thing I will say about Ben Horn, he's got more balls than the Australian cricket team. You know, he really is a tough guy. And I've seen Ben and Jeff go hammer and tong, toe to toe, and he never took any lip from Jeff. And he certainly, you know, he's not. He has no issues in stepping in the ring with Nikita either. So he's a really tough guy. He's your typical tough tradie. Jeff's a school teacher, and Jeff's a warrior as well. They're both warriors, you know. What do we got here? We got the butcher versus the hunter. I mean, that sounds like a bloodbath to me, doesn't it? You know, it's going to be a great fight. That's one thing I will say. People underestimate Ben. They don't realise he had 17 amateur fights. He only lost 2 of them, and one of them he shouldn't have missed the decision. But you know, he's a good boxer, a really good boxer, and his record's better than it looks on paper. And he went into the last fight, you know, he had 10 days to get ready for that fight, and he almost stole that fight. It went 10 rounds, and he said to me before he walked out, I've got 3 rounds in me. And I said, we'll see. Okay, he did 10 rounds and only lost it by a majority decision to a guy that won the ANBF Fighter of the Year in Ben Kite. So Yeah, we're in for a great fight here. People don't realise how good a fight this is going to be. But one thing I'll say about Ben, as I said, ticker, it's all there, probably more ticker than Big Ben, you know. So he's going to come here to fight. It's going to be a terrific fight. And certainly, as I said, we've got incredible respect for Nikita, his trainers, his manager Glenn Jennings, and the whole No Limit team. But as I said, this is a fight, and as Glenn said, we never come to a fight we don't expect to win. So we're not coming down here to make up the numbers. We're coming here to win the fight, and yeah, we just can't wait to 20th of July. It's going to be an awesome fight.
Glenn, you mentioned Ben's most recent fight. I wanted to just ask you about that because if you look at BoxRec, it says that he's coming off a loss, but essentially there was plenty to like about what he did that night. It was an impressive performance for those who got to see the fight live in the venue, and he overcame plenty of adversity. You'd be happy with how he's tracking after what he did there.
Yeah, you know, he literally crawled out of his COVID coffin, you know, and there's no way that we won that fight, but the promoters were stuck. They, again, as Glenn said, everyone calls out people, but when you actually put your hand up and say, okay, let's do it, they run a mile. And they had the same problem. They just couldn't get a match, and they basically pleaded with us to do the fight because they just couldn't get anyone else at short notice. And we just said, okay, well, we'll do the fight. So we had 10 days of prep to do 10 rounds. So if anyone wants to get ready for a 10-round fight in 10 days, you'll know what we're talking about. So what Ben showed, the heart and the courage he showed to grind that fight out and to nurse him through round by round, and he was certainly landing the biggest shots in that fight, but just sheer cardio fitness just wasn't there, and we lost a very close fight. So, you know, it's a terrific performance, and probably it was a good fight to have leading into this fight. We're looking forward to going back to 6 rounds. We've got a month to get ready. We're going to make every day count, and yeah, we're going to see a very good Ben Horn on the line.
Obviously, you've seen something in the first 2 fights from Nikita Tszyu that gives you an indication that you're a chance of winning this fight. What is it?
Look, Nikita's a great fighter. I saw him in the amateurs, and he was a terrific amateur, you know, and I think a lot of people back in those days admired both of the Tszyu boys, but a lot of people said, myself included, look, Nikita's probably the better of the two at this point in the development. And that's not taking anything away from Tim, who's an amazing fighter. But yeah, there's been, you know, I've seen ring rust in Nikita, and I'm sure Nikita would be the first to admit he made some mistakes in those first 2 fights. As you said, he's been 7 years out of the ring, and you can't expect to get in there in a couple of rounds and have it all back. So he's still growing, he's still learning and developing. And if you're going to fight Nikita, as I said to Ben, let's fight him early in his career. And yeah, because you give him another 5 or 6 fights, he's going to be a very polished boxer. But you know, there's still some chinks in the armour. There's still things that he's trying to work out, and I'm sure he will. But you know, we think if we're going to get him, let's do it now. Let's get it on, and it is on now. So again, bring it on.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Glenn Rushton. Great to have you here. That takes us to our main event fighters. It is Nikita Tszyu and Ben Horn. We'll start over here with Ben Horn. Firstly, congratulations on taking the fight. Great to see you back here in Sydney, and really looking forward to this one. What was the process once the call came?
Mate, it wasn't too much of a process. We got the call from Glenn. I said we'll take the fight, and then yeah, they sent stuff down for me to sign. I signed it. That's it.
You must have been confident. Have you seen Nikita's first couple
Yeah,
of fights?
I've seen Nikita's couple of fights. He's sharp. He's a good fighter. Credit to him. He's a great up and comer, and he'll do well for the sport. And I'm ready to test that. Like George and Glenn said, I'm here to upset the party, and that's exactly what I want to do.
What are your memories of August 2020? You fought on that card when your brother fought against Tim. You had to win that night, but obviously not the same for Jeff. How does the family look back on what happened on that night?
Yeah, well, the way I look back at it is I've got to get one back up on the family name. Well, Timmy's over here. He's taken that. We're 1 down, so let's try and make it 1-1.
What did Jeff have to say to you? Have you spoken to him about?
No, I haven't even had time to speak to Junior yet. No, so that'll come.
What role do you think you'll have, Jeff, in the build-up to this one?
Look, he's always been there, Jeff, for me. So we'll see. We'll get back, have a yarn. I'm sure he'll be in my corner. So he always is.
Tell us about that most recent performance that we saw from you. It was a really tough one, and one of the better performances I've ever seen from you, but it came with plenty of adversity, Ben.
Yeah, look, it was hard, like Glenn said. Getting off, coming off the COVID was tough. It hit me pretty hard. Yeah, I was always down for the fight. I like a challenge, that's why I'm here. All the other people are saying that they'll fight him and then pull the pin. I won't do that. I'm here to fight, and I will come wreck the party. That's what I'm doing.
Fantastic. Great to have you here. Thank you so much for taking the fight, Ben Horn. And we now move over to Nikita Tszyu, a man who not too many want to face, but Nikita, Ben Horn, seems very, very keen.
Yeah, well, he's confident. That's what I need in my career. I need fighters that are willing to put their bodies on the line and want to come to fight.
What did you take out of what happened in your most recent fight against Mason Smith? What did you make of your performance?
Well, there were a few little errors in the first 30 seconds, but that was just not really expecting how he would come out. But that's, again, a little bit of inexperience. But I kind of finished the fight well. Still think it could have gone a little bit further. Might have been a little early stoppage, but yeah.
What do you think Ben Horn is going to do? Do you expect something like what Mason Smith did that night, or do you think he's going to try and box with you?
Look, I haven't seen much of Ben Horn. I only found out they were fighting maybe like a day or 2 days ago. So I'm going to be doing all my research now. But I know that he's going to come to fight. He looks like a tough bloke, and yeah, it's going to be good.
What are your memories of August 2020 when your brother fought against Jeff Horn?
It was stressful. There was like an event down in Des Moines where there was like, I think like 50 people and all watching it, and I remember just like not talking to anyone, kind of zoned in, and yeah, it was a beautiful outcome. As soon as the kind of end of the first round, I had confidence, but again, you can't be too confident in this sport. You can't get a little too cocky, so there was always that little bit of fear throughout the whole fight. But Tim did an absolutely wonderful performance, and it was just beautiful to watch.
And if the shoe was on the other foot, I guess you can appreciate the feelings that Ben Horn would have about watching it the other way around and the motivation it would give him.
Yeah, well, he's here to avenge the loss and make it 1-1 for our family rivalry, but I'm here to make it 2-0.
Do you have a message for any of the boxers who accepted a fight against you and then disappeared?
No, not really.
Do you have a message for those who will be tuning in as to what they might see when you fight against Ben Horn on July 20?
I'm ready for anyone, essentially. Yeah, keep the phones on, as Glenn says.
What happens in this fight? Nikita, how do you see it playing out?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Thank you. No worries. Well, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Nikita Tszyu. And thanks so much to Ben Horn for accepting this fight. It is a stacked card. We can't wait to bring it to you on Fox Sports and live on KO as well. George?
Mate, tickets go live this afternoon through nolimitboxing.com.au for the pre-sale, and they'll be available to general public tomorrow for 1 p.m. So make sure you get in early this Savo, 4 p.m. for pre-sale through nolimitboxing.com.au, because we've got plenty of guys here that I reckon that they're gonna pack it out. So get in early.
Yeah, it's an outstanding night of boxing. We're looking forward to it. It's July the 20th, a Wednesday night at the Horton Pavilion, live on Fox Sports and KO as well. Thanks for joining us at today's press conference. We look forward to seeing Tszyu v Horn #2. I'm Ben Zaman. I'll see you at the fights.